Hey New Life Kids, this is Miss Hannah and I am so excited to tell you about a very special interview that is happening today. We have the DISC expert, Maggie Clark, who is going to talk to parents about personality styles and how that can impact your parenting. This is going to be super valuable and I'm so excited for you to take a listen.
Hi, I'm Maggie Clark, and I've been taught to teach DISC, which just happens to be a passion of mine. DISC is an instrument that helps us understand a person's wiring or their personality type, which shows up as their behavior. It's a better way to understand ourselves, others, and especially our kids, which is what we're about today. So give a listen to the upcoming video, which gives you some terrific examples, as well as taking you into a deep dive on what each personality type is.
What is the benefit of DISC? Ultimately, better relationships with our kids. We will come to understand today that any kind of thinking we've had in the past about, boy, Johnny, I wish you were more like your brother. Susie, I wish you were faster, just like Jane. We're putting all of that kind of thinking behind us today, and we're adopting a brand new opportunity to deal way more effectively with our kids. Now we're going to understand that some of our kids were by design task-focused and outgoing. That's our D. By design, some of them are more reserved and people-focused. That's our S. Some like to have fun. They're outgoing and people-focused. That's our I. And some are kind of serious, I think, by perception. They're a little more cautious and careful, and that's our C child. How do we benefit by knowing this? Well, we're going to begin to adjust our behavior, our form of communication, our approach according to who they are. Not according to what we've always brought to the party, which is, hey, it's my way or the highway. That goes away with people after they learn DISC. It becomes more about, let me find out who you are, let me adjust me to who you are, and now let's have a fantastic relationship. There's your benefit. Knowing the benefit of understanding DISC, how does that help me to become a better parent? Well, it's very interesting to observe yourself once you learn and start using DISC. You're going to discover that watching your children, observing them, thinking about them changes. You're no longer going to have, if you ever did, any mindset of judgment or any mindset of, I wish they would. Most of that is going to go away. So your parenting skills will improve simply on the knowledge of DISC. They can't help but improve because now you know things that you didn't know before you learned DISC. And then how to take this tool and really refine your style is by taking the additional time to observe and assess each child. That's really what it is. Sometimes we just get in such a hurry to get it all done. We're racing through breakfast, we're racing through dinner, we're racing through this, we're racing through that. But DISC will actually really stimulate you to no longer race through so many of the conversations or observations that you've previously had. Now when a kid leaves their muddy boots in the front hallway, you're going to have a whole different approach to that particular child. And you're going to have a different approach to their brother or sister because of the information you're getting. So parenting becomes a unique experience with each child. It gets out of parenting 101 and really into parenting 4.0. Now you feel excited to observe, excited to participate with, excited to see what happens with each one of the 4 kids in the car as they exhibit their predominant personality styles. Super cool stuff ahead. I hope you're on board. It's very exciting. There should be a visual in front of you right now that's going to help you get a picture of what DISC looks like. You'll see a crosshair at the top left, you'll see a D, top right, I, and so on. Look to the top and you'll see the word outgoing. Look to the left and you'll see the word task. Look to the right, you'll see people. And look to the bottom and you'll see reserved. These 2 identifiers, task and people, and outgoing or reserved, are really the telltale signs that'll help you most understand what DISC is. The first thing you'll notice is each person's pace. Your child shows up with a pace. They're either quick and fast and moving, or they're a little bit more reserved in their pace. They're either very task-focused most of the time, or they're people-focused most of the time. This is by design. This is how God wired them. So again, your D, outgoing, thinks about getting things done. They're a doer. Your I child, fast-paced, energetic, energizing, and they're focused on people. They really like to be the center of attention. Your S child, people-focused, more reserved in their pace, and they like a steady, secure environment. Your C child, cautious, careful, reserved in their pace, task-focused. What a combination. Onward we go to identify each one of them individually after a quick example. When you're with all four of your kids and you're about to cross a busy city street, here's how that might go down with this brood of personalities. Your D will probably run ahead and take action that you hadn't hoped he would take. Your I will be looking around for something fun and engaging to capture their interest. Your S will probably reach out for your hand and wait for your signal. And your C will be watching that signal across the street for the walk sign because they want to do it right. Your D child is active and likes to get things done. They're outgoing. They're task-focused. Give this person a task every day of the week and you will be a happy parent. Give them something to do. Active words, do. They may or may not be great delegators depending on their age, but they really want to get things done. They really want to be acknowledged for accomplishment and tasks being completed. This is what makes their day. They can be a dreamer. They can visualize the future, think about days to come. These are good moments for a D. They're determined. They're independent. They're quick to respond. They can sometimes be perceived as pushy or offensive. And really important to know about each one of these personality styles is they all have three basic needs. For a D, their basic need is challenge, choice, and control. They love being presented with options and choices. They love being challenged to do the next thing. They will sometimes show up as competitive. They like to control things. This is why we give them something to do. An example would be controlling their bedtime. Rather than fighting with a D over, get to bed, it's 9 o'clock, you're best to say, D, you choose your bedtime, and as your parents will approve that time, and then you can go with whatever time you say. Much better approach for a D in many situations. They like activity. They like competition. What they do not like are slow activities or being told what to do. So if you're going to take an authority position with a D, be careful with this one. Allow them to believe they are an authority in many situations. They tend to seek leadership roles. All right, and our biblical example of a D would be Paul himself. The author of most of our New Testament was indeed a D. Have fun with this. Well, if one of your kids is fun and outgoing and influencing, that is your I child. They love to influence others. They're friendly, they're talkative, they're warm, they're spontaneous. They like telling jokes. They like being the center of attention. And this is a good thing for an I. It's what they were designed to do. What they might be perceived as from time to time is unfocused, impulsive. And remembering that they all have three basic needs, these personality styles, theirs would be recognition, approval, and popularity. I's like to be liked. So parents, watch your face around your I children. They want to see a smile on your face. They're looking for approval. They can misinterpret a straight face or a neutral face as an angry face. They might ask what's wrong because they're looking to be liked at all times. They really like exposure to people. They like lots of activity. Don't ask them to do the same thing over and over again. That's not their thing. They don't like being isolated, and they definitely don't like being ignored. Eyes are verbal processors. They need to talk. That's what they need to do. So if you're having a conversation with an eye, allow some time for that conversation, because they really do like to be talked, and they want to look at your face and see a smile while they're talking. In fact, they might even believe that talking and doing are synonymous. All right. And when we think about impulsive and we think about biblical characters, we think about Peter. Peter is our great identifier for the I personality type. You may have a child who just seems so nice. Everybody likes this child. They're a little bit more reserved than the other two we've described, the D and the I. The S is supportive, steady. They like to serve. People really like S's. They're the most liked of the 4 personality types. They're easygoing. They're diplomatic. They're very cooperative. They're terrific listeners usually. S's like security. They really focus on security. It is one of their basic needs, which makes them sometimes resistant to change or resentful. So if you've got a room that an S lives in and you say, hey, S, we're going to go and change your wallpaper today, that's not something they're going to like. That's not something they're going to respond well to. Their basic needs are appreciation, security, and assurance. Moving is hard for S's. Change is hard. They love being appreciated. When an S listens, they want to be appreciated for listening. Thanks for listening to me, Susie. They love that kind of a comment. They really love security. They like peace. They're the stabilizers in the family. They're the helpers. They love teamwork. What they do not like are intense conversations. They don't like being pushed. They don't like being surprised. They really like to take their time. So you can hear that the S, in combination with a D or an I, which are more outgoing type people, they might find a challenge in there somewhere. So you really want to take your time with an S. And they're also looking at your face because they're a people person. So you want to have a pleasing face, more than the I's face, which needs to see a big smile. The S just needs to see that you're listening and attentive and tuned into them. And when we think about the biblical characters, John represents our S so beautifully. So, your C child is careful and cautious and correct and frequently cognitive. They can lean toward perfectionism. They're very thorough. They like being correct. They frequently think they're right. They like precision. They like being precise. They can sometimes be conceived as being inflexible or easily offended, but doing things right is very important to them. Their basic needs are excellence, value, and quality answers. So if you exaggerate, the I is known to exaggerate. So if you exaggerate, they might not trust you. Important to know. They can be a little critical and sometimes unsociable, but they're very into being right. This is very important to them. They like consistency and detail. They like getting it right. They do not like interruptions, mistakes, mediocrity, or illogical changes. They don't like any of that stuff. C's will have lots of questions. They really want to understand. And for parents, when a C child asks you why, and they have that quizzical look on your face, you really want to put the time in. Maybe not kind of an answer won't work. Because I said so, absolutely won't work. Just allocate the time with this child and sit down and help them understand what it is they're trying to work out. Best news for a parent. Our biblical character here is Thomas, because it needed to be right. So think that through as you're working with your C child. Your face on this one, serious. They're looking for a serious face. A fun face doesn't quite work with a C. At a target range, our D is ready, fire, aim. Oops. Our I, ready, aim, talk, and keep talking. S, ready, ready, ready. C, ready, aim, aim, aim. Parents, you've asked your kids to set the table. Here's what that might look like. Your D child takes a stack of plates and puts them on the corner of the table. A handful of cutlery and perhaps a stack of napkins will show up there too. Then they're off to get the next thing done. Your I child heard you, acknowledged it, and then went off and watched TV and had some fun times. Your S is going to take their time. They're going to set the plate down on each place. They're going to do the cutlery next. Then they're going to do the napkin. They'll take a look, make sure it's right. They'll go tell you. They'll say, hey, you want to come check my work? The C will probably follow after the S and make all the corrections and get it done correctly. They'll realign all the forks. They'll make sure all the forks and the napkins are in the same relationship to each other. They'll change the bread plate to the other side because the S might have gotten it wrong. And then they'll move on to the next thing because they know they've done it right. Each one of our personality styles has a motto. Our D, go for it. I, lighten up. S, all for one, one for all. And C, play by the rules. Get it done right. I hope this has helped you to better understand the nature of these different personality styles as they relate to you as a parent, or if your kids are listening, to the kids. We all come to the party via our Creator with a unique and very individual personality style. And what DISC does is it shines a light on our individuality. It really hopes to not have us try to move each other into different boxes where we're all the same. But for parents, I think it's one of the greatest tools you can put into your parenting tool belt so you can help your D be more of a doer. You can help your I be more of a relator with people and an engager. And you can help your S be more of a server and more steady and secure in their world. And you can help your C to be more right in what they do. Helping these kids to understand that they were created this way and they were created to be different can make a massive difference to you as parents. I really hope you found something here today that enlightens you and brightens your path for the future in parenting. It's been a blast. And hopefully in the future we'll have more tools for you regarding DISC. Great meeting with you today.